Welcome to part 3 of the Volvo camper build. If you haven't seen parts 1 and 2, go watch those, as well as the camping trips. Today we're going to be fixing a bunch more of the issues that I had on my last camping trip. Starting with, my feet were freaking cold. I've got here a heating pad as well as a cat bed, and we're going to be turning this into an insulated, heated floor mat that is going to keep my feet extremely toasty. The thing I'm most worried about is it's slightly wider than the floor space, so I hope it doesn't get cut on the rails. Let's find out. Well, that was a lot easier than I expected. On to the next upgrade. All right, I think next we have this thing, which is a behind the seat organizer. At least that's what I'm hoping. So this thing works for like accessories, like my cable, my magnetic hinges, my tablet, that sort of thing, the smaller stuff. But my second monitor here and my beefy workstation laptop, as well as my keyboard, none of these things actually fit. So we're gonna have to come up with something else for that, though I do think we do want to keep this. The next issue we have to solve is that usually I have an insulated curtain up here, so somehow we need to get this thing the other side of the curtain. You know what, on second thought, I think this thing would work a lot better hanging over here. It would just kind of always be there, be at my headboard, whereas up here it's really far out of the way. And as you can see, the curtain is kind of annoyed by being stretched that far. This seat also doesn't move when I need to set up for camp or anything, so it'd be more static. I think I like that more. All right, as you might have figured out, in order to get this mounted to the seat, going through the curtain, we will need some holes in this. So I'm gonna take this down and take it into Leah, and she's gonna put some holes in here that won't fray for us. As it turns out, wool doesn't really fray in the same way a lot of fabrics do, so all Leah did was just cut a couple of slits in it, and we'll get back to this later. So one thing I did notice when I was taking this thing out for a shakedown camp is that when hanging a weight from this headliner here, it actually will come down like that and sag, and it's mostly fixed, so it's a little wrinkly if I just close it and open it. But if you have any ideas for fixing that to make sure it doesn't sag, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'll probably just ignore it and hope it doesn't fall off completely, and if it does, cross that bridge when I get there. In the meantime, this ended up being a horrible place for my control panel, because when my whole work setup is here, I had to reach around to press these buttons, and so we're gonna relocate this to where it should have been in the first place, on the ceiling. We got our control panel up here. We can press all the buttons just from right here, turn off the lights like you can see, turn on and off the generator. Speaking of our electronics, we have an issue with them where our internet would temporarily turn off when the fridge cycles on, likely due to voltage sag. It comes right back on, but obviously that's inconvenient, so I've got a capacitor. We're gonna install it, and we're gonna see if that fixes it. All right, here is our little capacitor bank. This is a little 1.6 farad capacitor. It's really small, but it should be just enough. Actually, it should be plenty to bridge the gap in power when the fridge kicks on and the voltage sags a little bit. At least that's the hope. I have no real idea if this is gonna work. Let's wire it up. We'll also be wiring this in series with a chonky resistor, as this is basically a dead short when it's dead, and that would trip the power bank's fuse. So that was a massive lie, and I actually didn't need the resistor at all. However, it took me probably a few hours to discover this after much troubleshooting. I was just like, hey, I'll just try it without the resistor, and sure enough, well, I'll let my reaction speak for itself. This is working awesome right now. I am so stoked. I was just overcomplicating it, and that was the only issue. I've had the fridge unplugged and replugged and the compressor off and on a bunch of times now, and the internet has been rock solid, so I can leave it on the 12-volt rail, which is awesome. Not only because it frees me up a fast charge port on my power station, but I realized it's also because I have this on-off switch, so I can turn Starlink, the internet, off at night so it doesn't consume power. And of course, that's really easy to do with a 12-volt power connection, but it's not easy to do with a USB-C power cable. So I am so relieved. I'm gonna go grab a celebratory beverage and relax, and we'll get back out here tomorrow. Whew, stay tuned. I'm so excited, man. Yes. All right, back out here. Today, our goal is to move all the electronics from the rear passenger footwell into the underfloor area here, because the underfloor here is cavernous and currently completely unused. So the question I have here is whether, without the floor, this panel will sit in here flat. I'm kind of thinking it won't, and we might need to add like some blocking on the bottom of it to hold it up, to support it, but we'll see. So yeah, we definitely need to implement a little bit of blocking to support stuff, but honestly, it went way better than I expected, and it's really close to just being fine. Oh, hell yeah, that is freaking solid, man. All right, now we need to add hinges to the portion of this so we could actually access the underfloor while we're on the go. We do have a slight clearance issue here now with it folding up, so I'm just gonna trim this a little bit. Yeah, it doesn't fit out of here very easily. I think we're gonna have to reposition this thing. I'm not sure exactly where yet, but somewhere. Dude, it is amazing how much space they managed to fit back here. This little area here is cavernous. Okay, so for now, I'm just gonna leave the spare tire in here, and if we get a flat, it's just gonna be a really bad day. But in the future, I would definitely like to put this thing somewhere else. Now, I think it's time to move our electronics back here and get everything wired and routed and figure out what cables we need to use, because we are gonna need to order some longer cables so they can be extended up to the passenger area. All right, I'm getting all the electronics set up in here, and I'm loving how it's looking using this spot as my little electronics cabinet. I'll show you around when I'm done, but I do actually have something new here, which is a battery tender. So the battery in this car might need to be replaced, but it has plenty of cold cranking amps to start the car. I let this car sit for a week, started right up. But if you leave any of the electronics on, it dies within a half hour tops, usually closer to like 10 minutes. So I'm gonna just have this battery tender hooked up to the generator, so whenever the generator's running, the battery will be charged. And lucky for me in this vehicle, the battery's here in the trunk, I suppose, for weight distribution, so this is dead simple. I'm going to play some unedited footage here and just take a listen. Yeah, that's right. The neighbor was sitting in their driveway for a good 4 hours, just about the entire time I was working, blasting music in their car. I don't know what sort of lack of life this individual has, but it was very, very annoying. Anyways, back to the build. So we've got our battery nestled back in here, and it's kind of wedged in there, so it's not going to shift around too much. This is our little charging hub that charges the battery bank as well as all of the lights. And you can see I've used cable ties with Velcro to route these to all the cables. So now we won't have to worry about charging all of the lights. I have one coming for this one, so it'll be kind of wired around and then loosely draped into here. And then if I lift this up, you can see there's some wiring under here, all hidden away, completely discreet. And then up here, a big discovery I made is that there's actually excess space underneath this seat, so we can kind of use this as a little transfer box. And so I have everything that's not the heaters plugged in right here. For the tender, I did think about cutting off the clamps and just clamping the wires straight to the battery, but honestly, this seems secure enough that it's not going to come off mid-drive, so this makes this thing a little more universal and usable if I ever want to use it for anything else. And I forgot to mention back under here, this is the heaters, so this is all of the heat, the floor mat, the front, and the rear heater. And my order has arrived. I've got a cable going from here down to the power, charge this light, and I have 3 cables running from the battery bank back there to charge my cameras as well as my devices, plus of course the very lengthy cable that will run up to the laptop for charging it off of the battery bank. And now every single port of my power bank is full, every single one. I also got these little right angle adapters to help with strain relief on the main 3 ports there. Oh, and when the door is closed, the cable just hangs down a little something like that. It ain't perfect, but not too bad. Joel from even further in the future now, and I've actually made more improvements, such as these clips. These are 3D printed, they stick on with VHB, and they have little Velcro ties, and they just help me to route these cables a little better. Now this one isn't dangling. These ones in here are routed along the insulation instead of having to be crammed in there, makes it a lot easier. And of course the same with these cables over here. And I also relocated this remote. It was on the 12-volt port earlier, and now it's mounted up here because it kept getting knocked off when it was down there. So I can just grab it, turn on and off my lights, just like that, and then slap it back up there. All right, back to past Joel. All right, let's get the platform back in, and I'll show you exactly why this is so awesome. All right, now this is what I was excited for. Look at all this room for storage. Before, if you remember, this was our cable cabinet, and it was just full of all the electronics, and now I can use this, for example, as a shoe bin, and then, you know, anything else that I really need access from outside the car, maybe like a closet, that sort of thing. And due to this little flap, I can still access the electronics if I really need to from back here. And what I'm also imagining, and we're gonna find out together if it works, is that while I'm driving, I can stuff all of my cables into here instead of having to stuff them in the car itself. And sure enough, all of my cables are now out of sight, out of mind. All right, now that's a huge accomplishment. I'm so happy with how that turned out. However, now we need to work on the other things, such as I've got that curtain back from Leah. Let's try and fit that. So yeah, this thing will work great for like my tablet, some smaller stuff, but I still have no idea where I'm gonna store my laptop more long-term. And then when we tear it down to drive, it'll just sit like that over top of it. All right, we got a few more goodies, and then I think we're gonna be just about done for this video. I've got a chain to tie the generator around a tree. And a few days later, as I was editing this, the lock came in, a really beefy pack lock. So hopefully this will deter anyone from stealing the generator. And if they do manage to steal it, hopefully it'll at least wake me up. We have these 4 temperature sensors, and now I spent a long time figuring out which temperature sensor I wanted to use. And I've settled on these from Ruvi because they are truly open source. So if the company completely disappears from the face of the earth, the code will still be out there. I will still be able to use these. So these should last me a long, long time. Now I think this is a good spot for the outdoor tag, as this will be shielded from direct sunlight and the white panel should reflect most of the heat, so this panel shouldn't warm up too much. And it has good airflow and it's out of the weather for the most part. I think this is a great spot for this. We're putting them in 2 places on the exterior, one on the gas flap and one on the solar panel, because this one will probably read pretty high when it's sunny out and this solar panel gets heated up. But we'll just have to see. We can always move these around, change them up if we want to. And now when I'm camping, I won't have to tell you, according to my phone, I can actually tell you what the exact temperature is. I'm really excited about those things. Now, we don't have anything in here that should be generating carbon monoxide except for while the car's running. And if the car's on fire, I'm also on fire, so I should wake up in the night. But just in case, a helpful commenter mentioned I should have a fire alarm. And so that's exactly what we're going to install. Now, what I really wanted was a USB-C rechargeable fire alarm, which doesn't really seem to exist because I didn't want to have to be worrying about, you know, finding AA batteries or whatever. However, I've decided to go with one that takes AA's and they're just USB-C rechargeable. So if they die on the trip, I can just plug them in and charge up really quick. And much like with everything else, we're just going to stick this thing under the ceiling here with the included attachment. And we can put our fire alarm up just like it's on the roof of a house. Just like that. I also got a couple of new fun sensors. So this is a CO2 detector, so we can tell how stuffy it is in the car after I work for a full day. And this is a CO detector, carbon monoxide, that just tells me the exact value. So this thing should wake me up in the middle of the night if it's dangerous, but this thing will, you know, tell me just for curiosity's sake, I guess. I'm gonna go grab some Velcro and stick this one on the ceiling. This one I'm just gonna keep around. We are also upgrading from this pillow here to this pillow here. Now these are both memory foam, however, this one is designed for backpacking, and so the lightweight style of memory foam they use just does not re-expand to my liking. So after the first night you're sleeping on it, it becomes a flat pillow, which is obviously no good. And you have to leave it out in the sun or put it through the dryer before it'll actually re-expand. And this one here has no issues re-expanding on its own. This is from Coop Pillows, and well, if you've seen Scott Kramer, you might know what brand this is, but I'm really looking forward to sleeping on this. This will be a nice upgrade for car camping. So in addition to the chonky chain you saw for the generator earlier, we do have some other theft protection in the form of these Google Find My trackers. These work exactly the same as the Apple AirTag, but they're with Google's ecosystem of devices. So if any Android is near them, they will ping just like AirTags. I'm surprised how many people don't know and aren't aware that Google actually has an alternative now, which still isn't great. You know, Google's still a big company and stuff, but you know, I just don't want to buy an Apple device. So, and these also happen to be rechargeable. A lot of the early ones were not, but these ones are. Now, honestly, usually I don't need to worry about theft protection in the places that I camp. If you've been following the channel, then you know where those places are. If you haven't, go check them out. There's lots of great videos. I usually don't see a soul where I camp, but I did camp last week for a shakedown of the camper in quite a populated area where a lot of people were driving past late at night, and that did just make me a little nervous, which is why I'm doing these. So go watch that video if you haven't watched it. I'm really proud of it. The mornings were absolutely beautiful, and well, you also get to see Angry Joel. I got pretty freaking irritated at some litter bugs. Yeah, I got to get this attached here. We're going to mount it inside the generator so it's harder to get to. I also hopefully fixed our remote start issue while I was in there. It's just the choke. It's done by a door lock solenoid, and the mechanism I have set up for that is a little bit, let's just say insecure, so it comes detached so it doesn't do the choke. All right, and with that, I think we've come to the end of this build episode. Now there are 2 before this if you haven't seen them, which if that's the case, then I don't know why you watched to the end of this one, but thank you. But you can go watch those. And I think there'll actually be another build episode out next week instead of a camping trip. Now, usually I tell people to subscribe, we're gonna take it out and try it out, but I really wanna thrash to get this thing done because I'm trying to buy a house, and it turns out it makes it a lot easier for your potential lender if you don't have a bunch of transactions on your account that are unnecessary, which I've been making a lot of unnecessary purchases for this camper. So subscribe if you want to see us finish the build, like the video if you liked it, you know where that button is, and leave a comment if you got any comments on how to improve this, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you think is silly, or on how to buy a house, because this is going to be my first time doing that. I can't believe I'm even close to in a position to do that. So I hope I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.